Hello, I am Dr. Farshad Amini Behbahani, and this is short course of Iranian traditional medicine. In this section, we evaluate abnormal forms of phlegm and the condition that lead to production of more phlegm and of course abnormal phlegm. Let's consider again our bean soup pot. In which position or in which situation you will have more raw food, more unwell cooked food, if you have less time. If you have more food than the flame, if you have large amount of raw material with normal flame, or a low flame or low heat for a normal amount of food. In this situation, you will have more raw or unwell cooked soup. So the amount of phlegm in the body also increase. In the body, for example, less time or limited time can be exemplified by eating large amount of water immediately after the food. When you do this, you push undigested kilos to the liver, toward the liver. Even a strong liver cannot digest it well. The whole digestion process from the first stage to the end of second stage will be done in short time. Or if you have exercise immediately after the eating, you lower the flame under the pot. Why? Because blood from the center of the body will come to the peripheral of the body to help you to exercise. So the flame and proper heat of the stomach and of course of the liver will be lower. So your food will be undigested well. In a person with cold and wet intrinsic temperament, also the production of well digested food, especially when amount of food be large, will be depleted, and we have a large amount of phlegm. In elderly also, the innate heat is low. So if an old person eats a large amount of food or more food in during the day than he used to or she used to eat, the production of phlegm will be more. We discussed this unnatural humidity or or unnatural moisture in elderly. We told that this old man or this old woman will sleep more than need. Why? Because the temperament of phlegm is cold and wet, and coldness and wetness bring more amount of sleep or bring sleepiness. This old person has more drooling of saliva, has a slower movement. The memory of this person may be disturbed because phlegm is like water. Water cannot sustain or stable the faces. You cannot write your name on water. So memory of this person with more than need phlegm will be lost. Consider, for learning, for thinking, the brain needs more phlegm other than other organs, more phlegm compared to other organs for well thinking. But if the amount of phlegm be more than the need of the brain, loss of memory will happen. Of course, there is another cause of loss of memory in elderliness. Don't think the more than need phlegm or abnormal phlegm is the only cause of forgetfulness or loss of memory. Sometimes the amount of tissue of brain is depleted, and mostly it's because of heat situation, not cold situation, even in the elderly. Of course, there is another cause of abnormal phlegm with a cold liver or cold stomach. For example, you eat a large amount of cold, uncooked raw material, or drink large amount of cold water, you make a cold stomach or cold liver. If you bring cold distemperament to your stomach or your liver, the consequence will be production of large amount of phlegm. This large amount of phlegm can gather or can reserve by obesity of the belly, kind of obesity, kind of disposition of the fat, because fat tissue is a cold tissue, mostly produced by watery part or thin part of the blood or phlegm. An abnormal phlegm can be produced by mixing the normal phlegm with abnormal humors, with other abnormal humors. For example, if you eat large amount of food and produced large amount of phlegm, and there is two abnormal humors like abnormal choleric humor and abnormal melancholic humor from the last digestion, from the previous digestion, and this large amount of phlegm mixed with abnormal choleric humor or abnormal melancholic humor, it produced a kind of abnormal phlegm that we called it salty phlegm in the Iranian traditional medicine. Salty phlegm produce itch, produce dandruff, produce salty taste in the mouth, produce some peeling scars like psoriasis sometimes. And so the cure of these diseases in the Iranian traditional medicine will be expelling this abnormal salty phlegm. We usually use oxymel, some medicinal oxymel, to defecate this abnormal. Sometimes we use vomiting for expelling abnormal phlegm or abnormal chylus from the stomach. And sometimes we use diarrhea for expelling abnormal phlegm based on in what position this abnormal phlegm is. Sometimes abnormal phlegm produced by very cold temperament or coldness situation and produced a kind of tasteless abnormal phlegm with thick and very low slow motion liquid or phlegm that can deposit in the joints and produce some sort of arthritis with cold sensation in that position. This abnormal, very cold and thick phlegm can scattered in the body and bring sensation of coldness to the body. Sometimes the coldness of this phlegm is so much that the taste will turn to soreness. We call the sore phlegm is the coldest phlegm, coldest abnormal phlegm in the body. The person with this situation has a bright white color compared to the last color. His blood has low movement, is thick with a whitey red color if we have venesection to see the blood. Drooling and paleness of tongue, of course, may be happen for this person, and this person is very sleepy. The speaking of this person is very slow. This is the sign of cold abnormal phlegm.